Yeah, I think it was a pretty good stream. Okay, so anybody who want to hang out, from Art's channel, y'all can just go ahead and y'all can just follow me over. Just hit the link. All right, Art, I'm out of here. Wally, what's going on, my man? What's going on? Can you hear me? Is everything okay? Let's see. Wally, everything is A1, Wally. Everything is A1, man. Hey, why don't you just come up here, man? Enjoy the panel. Can you hear me? Fitness mom? Anybody can come up and join the panel because I really want to talk about what we was talking about over at Art Show. Hey, do you guys have the link? Let me put the link here in the chat real quick. I can make sure everybody got the link. Give me just a sec. Yeah. Oh, so we got my man Tyrone. My man Ty's in the building. Wally's in the building. Let's see. Okay, we got PK popping up. Hey, that's A1.
What's up,
PK, how
man?
you doing, bro? Okay, yeah. Thanks for coming up, man. I'm doing good. Man. Hey, I appreciate everything that you were saying over there on Art's channel, man. It was actually clearing up a whole lot of what it is that I wanted to say.
Oh, it's no problem, man. I mean, I generally try to be pretty balanced, but I do understand that some of the conversations or some of the dialogues that people try to put through in different spaces aren't necessarily accurate. So I just try to I try to tackle it to the best of my ability. I don't know everything, but I know a lot. So
Right. In my view, right, like black people, I think that we're all correct, right? I think we're all right, but it's just a matter of what we're right about. You know what I mean? Let's get Ian in here. Okay, bro. You on. Ian, what's good, man? Thanks for showing up.
Yes, sir. Nah, man. Like I said, man. I have if y'all heard earlier, that's my trigger is as ADOS. Like I said, there's a whole history with that I have with them. And the understanding that they like to use pro black and reparations and all that as a way to just mask over the fact that they've been doing black men wrong, and they plan on continue doing black men wrong. And they think somehow politics and money somehow is going to solve the issue of black female relationships, and it's not.
I don't know. It depends on what you mean by that, in my view.
What I mean
So
is, in their mind, they think if they get money, not because they have never cared about black men getting any goddamn thing. So don't believe now they want black men to get reparations. Hell no. They think in their mind if they get money, right, and more money from the white man, somehow that's going to fix relationships with us. That's in
No,
their
but
mind.
I think that when you say, well, this is what I was trying to say, is that, you know, it depends on what you mean by politics, and then so far as what do you mean in particular? You know, if you start to talk about, you know, dealing with some of the child support laws, I think that would have a effect on black relationships. I
Mhm.
think that if you started to deal with, you know, it depends on what we're talking about, right? That's what I'm
Mhm.
saying. I don't know. It
Okay.
depends on what do you know, it depends on what you mean by what you're saying, not them, because I know what they mean and I agree with you, you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, if you think that politics won't solve some of the issues in the black community, then I don't agree with that. I think politics would solve some of the issues in the black
Of
community.
course, of course it would. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be the same dynamic of them screwing shit up. You understand what I'm saying?
It depends. I think it depends. And what it depends on
Who's
is how
Mhm.
much leverage they have in any sort of relation to politics and relationships are. You
They
know,
got all
if they don't,
they
no,
got
what
the
I'm saying
leverage
is
now.
if they don't have access to those levers, then they obviously can't fuck up. You know, they don't have the ability to fuck up. You know what I mean? So I mean, it
What I'm saying
depends.
is with money, with more money and more levers, that's not a that's not going to be an improvement because they just going to be because they already got levers now. They already getting money. They're already getting from the government. They already got levers. You know what I'm saying? So leverage. They called themselves when the last election came around. They was calling themselves the Michael Jordan of the Democratic Party and shit.
Yeah, I
You
was
know.
there. I seen. Yeah,
You know.
I'm
I
not
mean.
trying to
Well,
make the statement that any of these things should happen independently of one another. I'm not saying that they should just get a fucking windfall like they're getting from Goldman Sachs, you know, of a couple trillion
Yeah.
dollars or $1 billion, you know, and that, you know, that's somehow going to restore the black community because of a windfall of money. That's not the statement I'm making. I'm saying that
Mhm.
if these things happened, at least insofar as, you know, if black women were to get a windfall of any sort, all
Mhm.
that money should probably belong to the men primarily. That's not
Yes.
to say that they shouldn't have any sort of money and they should just be destitute, poor, and without any place to live and dying on the streets. You
Yes.
know, but
That is.
ultimately, I think that these things have to happen in tandem if we are to see any sort of, you know, change in the black community. So you can't just have one thing. So, for instance, if I was to go and pull any random lever on issues in Black America in politics and expect for any sort of significant change on the ground without any sort of economic impact, then I would be dead wrong. You know, in
Mhm.
my view, I
Exactly.
think that these
Right.
things have to happen in tandem,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
either or.
And yeah, I mean, but no, but so when we're talking about the leverage and the economics, but we're also talking about is dealing with with how they see the black family structure moving because they want to change the whole structure of the black family. They don't want it the way it was anymore. But the whole thing, if you're talking about getting money and getting and having leverage, understand at some point you're gonna have to have you're gonna have to have the black family to anchor the money and to anchor the leverage too as well. And so if the black family is not intact, there's no anchor for the wealth, no matter how much wealth you get, and there's no anchor for the levers too.
I agree with that. But the black family starts with the black man primarily. That's the head.
Yes,
So I mean,
yes, yes.
ultimately, we don't disagree. You know,
Mhm.
based on what I've heard. But like I said, it
No, no,
also
no.
depends
I'm
on
not
what you're
saying we
saying. You know.
disagree. No,
Yeah.
no. I'm not speaking as in a disagreement point. I'm just really, just talking.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're just
Just
talking. We're just having a
yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
We're seeing where each other's coming from.
No,
well, so
yeah. I
so
mean, I mean, but in a lot of ways, they do see it as that. I mean, online there's this okay, when last Juneteenth go round, right? On Twitter they had this thing called this women's economic forum. You had
Mhm.
one of the heads of the Department of Labor. This chick was involved in it. And so they basically are saying the economic liberation of black women is is going to free us all. You know what I'm saying? So there's a large faction of black women who think putting money and power in their hands is going to solve all the problems of the black community. And to some degree, I think a lot of these black women going into reparations think the same thing because they're not interested in sharing power. And that's my thing. When I was part of that group, they did not want black male leadership in the
So what you think
ADOS.
all of this money is for? Just to buy more hair weave?
That's all they want the shit for, man. That's it.
Look, I was kind of being like a little bit superficial and shallow, bro, but you know what I mean? Just to get a laugh, but you know,
Yeah, I know.
it's kind of amazing because people don't, you know, it's like they on this path of destruction, right? You know, and they like on this carousel, and they don't. It's like, you know, they intoxicated at this point, and they don't want to get off.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm drunk right now.
Okay.
If you're wondering, yeah, yeah, always.
You know, they don't want to get off of this thing, and my whole thing is about this is that, you know, at some point, you know, we got to be a little bit more. We got to start being stern with them. See, here's what I'm seeing. I'm saying for the sake of getting pussy, men are, you know, they're just allowing this crap to go by, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even with Sister Shirley, you know, like, okay, so you guys haven't seen the list,
I have,
and
we argued about it, and we disagreed.
Okay, and we disagree, right? But if you see the list, you would know, like, well, first of all, this type of woman is going to be problematic anyway, right? Mm-hmm. And I went on right to Sister Shirley's YouTube, and I seen even some of the things that, you know, even while we were talking in that short amount of time, and I'm like, whoa, wait a second. You know, I've seen her before, and you got to understand the message as these women, as they get older, right? As they get older, they have a more miserable conversation with female after female after female after female, right? And it's poisonous. It's poisonous, and it works adversely to what it is that we're trying to do, which is actually trying to get us out of this mess that they want. That they're like, well, listen, it's not a mess because I'm doing fine. You know, me and the kids, we're doing fine, so it's not a mess. You dig what I'm saying?
I understand. I don't find any value. At least this is just my view, right? I don't personally see any value in having any sort of deep intellectual debate with any woman about what it is that she believes, because ultimately any sort of power that she has in this country is passed through another man. So having the conversation with her is moot. Ultimately the negotiating table that's set with her is set up in such a way where you can't, it's a rigged game, because she has the ability to pull a lever and have you booted from the table or booted from the game at any point. She's essentially holding a gun to your head and telling you to spin the plate, and whatever section of this plate that lever or arrow lands on, she can pull that trigger arbitrarily. So I mean, it doesn't lead to any sort of solution. I don't see any sort of tangible reason to have a dialogue with them, in my view. But I do understand why people have these conversations amongst them. But if you're looking to do something productive with your time as a man, I don't see any value in putting in passing these ideas through a woman, because she's already been socialized in a way to move to your detriment. At least as a black man in this country, you can't expect to be able to convince her otherwise. I don't think. I don't think so. You have to see it for what it is, and when you make that assessment, you know, because if you let a woman, as you saw earlier, talk enough, you'll be able to form your conclusion. Once you form that conclusion, you move as necessary. You do what you have to do. That's, you know, this is why we had the conversation earlier, you know, when we were talking about, you know, essentially dating out. And that's why I made that statement. It isn't a mystery to me. It's a pointless endeavor, because arguably we've been trying to do that for the last, I don't know, 40 years or so, 50 years or so, ever since second wave feminism, and they decided that they were gonna, you know, fuck us over, right? So why are we beating a dead horse? It isn't working. We have to essentially devise a new strategy. The new strategy is what I mentioned.
What was the new strategy?
Either you save yourself and you decide to date interracially, or you date interculturally. You really don't have an option about it. There are no two ways around it. They're going to assimilate some of you here in America. It's a program that's been in effect for quite some time now. I mean, there's a lot of documentation to back up the claim. I don't really have any of the information available, or excuse me, in front of me to be able to substantiate it, but ultimately it is the case. It's true. It's verifiable.
Do you think brothers are winning by doing that too?
I think you are, yes, because ultimately you're able to pass on your lineage, your values, your culture, and ultimately have will over your child's life. If you don't want to have these things, then you can take your chances and play roulette with a black woman here in America who's essentially been acculturated to be your enemy.
The only problem I see with that is it's becoming an American thing rather than a
racial.
Mm-hmm.
To some extent, that is true. Yes. To a large extent, that's true. Yes. So, I mean, you're playing with fire either way, but obviously there's a high propensity to get burned if you're doing it amongst, I would say, ADOS women in particular. Because, I mean, if you go to any sort of part, just pick out any random stat that you'd like to look at, and they're at the bottom of it in terms of outcomes. I mean, hell, even in terms of long-term relationships and marriages, they're the least married. So if you think that you're going to have a chance playing with that sort of fire, you'd be better off, holding your breath for 30 minutes and hoping to survive it. You know what I mean?
Well, I think they're the least married simply because of the way that they view marriage. They don't want to get married. They're content with being baby mamas, and I want to explain to you what my position is. Right. The reason for my position in being that is that the fight against the fight that women are having, in my view, is that of masculinity versus femininity, i.e., the feminist movement. But namely, what masculinity represents one thing: discipline. Okay, and black women do not want discipline. Period. Bottom line. They don't want it for themselves. They don't want it for the kids. So they want to be able to go out and do whatever it is that they want to do. And then when shit go awry, they're not going to take no accountability for it. They're not going to apologize for it. And just like Mr. Z said, and waiting on an apology, you'll be waiting forever. Right?
No, you just won't get it. You can keep waiting. You just won't get it.
Right. So with that being said, though, is there a way that through let's say therapy, right, and contracts?
I don't think therapy is going to.
Hold on, Pastor. Because we talked about this, but they haven't talked about it with us. We haven't talked about it with them. So with this, do you think therapy and contracting with black women, right? Do you think that we'll get a better?
What do you mean by contracting? I don't know.
Contracting a relationship, contracting with children. So, for example,
mean like the actual physical contract?
Yeah, because see, the laws and the rules are already there, right? But what we're dealing with is some sort of mandate. Okay, we're dealing with some sort of mandate that black women should be acting a certain way, right? That they can display certain behaviors without any consequence. Right, because the laws are there. I'll give you an example. A few years ago, I haven't seen it roughly within the past year or so, but we've all seen black women fighting out in the street. Right, we've seen them committing assaults. Right, and by that, these women were supposed to go to jail. But yet and still, no police, no jail time, no nothing. Right. So it's almost mandated that these women, they can go out here and they can do certain things, they can act a certain way and without any consequence. And so it's not until a woman does something absolutely egregious to where, they got some sort of consequence according to the law. So it got to be a mandate somewhere. So my question is again, could we contract with them and them receiving some form of therapy? Do you think that that would better our chances at being
No,
able to have relationships with them?
no.
And why is that?
Well, I was going to let someone else go. I don't want to monopolize the panel. I'll go last. I don't want to monopolize the time on the panel. So anyone else got any thoughts on it?
Therapy and contracting. And you're not talking about a marriage certificate.
No. I'm talking about. I mean, even in this situation, let's say a prenuptial agreement.
Okay. So I'm not familiar with the I mean the idea of contracts. I see. So I'm not familiar to what extent a contract can be used in relationships. I'm not really familiar. Is that something that can be useful? And people have used contracts before.
Yes and
Yeah.
no. It's just complicated. Yes and no.
Okay. Got you.
That's something you would have to look into more. What
Mhm.
yes and no. That's the short answer. But the long answer is that in some ways you can protect yourself, but in other ways you can't. In some ways you essentially may be on the hook depending on where you live. In some ways you won't. So it's kind of it depends. You know what I mean? And there are also cases where prenuptial agreements, just as a frame of reference, are thrown completely out of the window. So I mean, it really depends. It really depends. There are a lot of factors involved in moving parts to this conversation, and insofar as contracting is concerned. Um,
Mhm.
Obviously, I don't see it as a safe bet in the first place when you're talking about contracting with a person who's living, who I guess has such a high divorce rate in the first place. So ultimately, you're essentially planning for the relationship to fail, which is already, it's a failure to launch. You know what I mean? Like, why would you even launch that situation? In
Mhm.
my view. Now, I get why some people would go as far as to make that statement. People who are more so invested than I am. I get it. But ultimately, you're setting yourself up for failure. It's like building a house on sand and expecting a good outcome. You know what I mean? Like, so when the strong wind comes by and knocks your house down, should you be surprised? Probably not. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Probably not. You may be a little bit more protected, but ultimately, you still end up at the same outcome.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know. I think that's kind that's kind of a straw man in some senses, but ultimately, it's a yes and no. It's a yes and no answer when you talk about contracting.
I don't know, man. One of my coworkers said that everything is already contracted.
Technically, yeah. I mean, the marriage is a contract. I mean,
Well,
She's right.
technically,
She's
actually,
right on that.
it's okay. So it's a contract, but it's not a detailed contract. Okay, and that see the marriage is left up to the whims and the emotions of the female,
Mhm.
right? But in the details, what the devil is in the details, right? So with that being said, hey, listen, here's this prenuptial agreement, right? Here's the
Mhm.
prenuptial agreement according to the rules, and this is what she has to abide by, right? She signed it. We had the lawyers. She had her lawyer. I had my lawyer. We got it on tape. We recorded it. We did everything that we need to do, right, to show that she was, of sound mind and body when she did this, right? And so with that, the question is that does that better your chances? And I get what you're saying in terms of PK, in terms of failure to launch, right? But this is what we're actually up against right now. So what we're trying to do is provide some actual solutions that's practical, because most black men never been out of the country. So practical solutions, is there any?
I believe there are, but ultimately, anytime you're playing with fire, some percentage of those people are going to be burned. So I mean, yeah, that's a practical solution is to use a prenuptial agreement. I think that is a practical solution, but to what extent, that's unclear.
Does it
Because it
does
hasn't
that
ever been
extend to
used
the
in
children?
mass.
Can that extend to the children?
It does, and that's the other thing that what people don't realize is that you outline everything in a prenup. Okay, I mean, how many times you're gonna have sex, the children, type of education the children are gonna have, everything.
I like this. I
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah,
I mean,
You
yeah. So
out-
I mean, it's there's a lot more involved in that. And like I said, it's a nuanced discussion. If we were just to you would have to do essentially, you would need a lawyer involved in the discussion in the beginning, like someone like we have people in the space that are lawyers who have talked about this particular topic, in fact, and they said essentially what I'm saying to you right now, which is that it's complicated. So yes and no, it isn't that simple. Is the long and short of it. Um, yeah, it does protect you more than being essentially naked and just getting married would do, but is it going to be airtight in all scenarios? Definitely not. It is not
Definitely
some
not.
sort of
There's
silver
nothing
bullet.
ironclad.
Yeah, there's not it's
But
not
it
some
will
sort of silver
it
bullet.
will to some degree put some pressure on the
But then you also
on the
have you
woman.
got to remember this too. This is another linchpin. You also have to convince a woman to sign such a contract in the first place. And I don't think you're going to get most black women to sign a prenuptial agreement that may be
What just
stringent.
tell her, if you love me, then you will do this.
But the thing about so check this. Are you looking at writing a contract or is it going to be multiple contracts? Because I'm having a side conversation while we're having this conversation. And Jay-Z and Beyonce came up. Jay-Z had his contract, Beyonce had her contract, and they bonded them together. But they both had their interests already set aside.
That's true.
I don't
That's
know.
true. So she's gonna come with her list of demands. He's gonna come with hers, and I think he had to pay her like an additional $50,000 a year or $5 million a year, or something, for every year that they stayed married or something like that, up to a certain point, right? I don't know how true that is, but you can do a lot of things like that. I mean, what do people think, that like Jay-Z, like he just had free access to her womb without paying for it because he was a player?
Man, that stuff starts to cost, bro. God knows. Contracting this stuff. I see why people just do it willy-nilly free and deal with the child support stuff because that's an expensive endeavor. And then, I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'm going to drive down and I'll get off work. I'm going to call y'all back, all right?
All right.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
I know my man passed the $40. I know he's going to be out there in the weeds, right? But I understand about over here. What we try to do is we try to have like some solutions, right? Some solutions so that we can move forward, solve the problems, right?
Well, I offer two. You just don't like them. You just don't. It doesn't seem like you like them very much. I offered two solutions earlier, but I think they're the most realistic solutions to fixing the problem and actually having a stable, long-term community that we can, essentially have will over.
Can you repeat those again?
Either you date out, or you date interculturally. And that's the way that you ought to do it. And the reason being is so that you can have more will or control over your family and over essentially what it is that is necessary to have a family in the first place. Because if you don't do those things to essentially address your culture and address your economic situation and eventually be able to affect change in terms of politics, having a family is indeed necessary.
Mm-hmm. So let me answer you real quick. Here's what it is. The white man spends trillions of dollars every year making sure that our relationships are off kilter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's spending trillions of dollars a year making sure that we have about 400,000 aborted babies, right? Every year.
Right.
Now, what other culture, what other group does he do that to? None. Zero, right? And so because of this, to me, there's something to it. There's a trick to it. Right? I mean, do y'all see that or no?
The trick, okay.
I acknowledge this is happening, but I don't understand what the point that you're trying to build to is.
Okay,
I mean,
so
this is something that we know. At least I know. I'm not confused about the fact that the situation that we're in. But
so
what
so
it
if
is
I
that you're
spend
trying to
money,
get at.
so if I spend a lot of money to try to get you to do something, or to get you to do something, or somebody else to affect your situation,
Mhm.
right? Then that must mean that there's something that's advantageous that I don't want to happen for you,
Right,
because I see something there,
right,
right? I'm not doing it to anyone else. I'm just doing it to you.
right.
All right. So with that being said, the way I look at it is like, okay, you're spending all of this money. You must really don't want me to be with that black woman.
You got to
Mhm.
define. You got to help me to understand what it is you're trying to define. Like, what do you think it is? What do you think it is that they haven't said that they want you to do? That is somehow mystical or mythical that we don't know about already.
Well, it's that. Well, we already know that this whole JFK. I mean, they so what is the guy? The FBI. J. Edgar
J.
Hoover.
Hmm.
Right. Him and this whole rise of a black messiah.
Right. Yeah, he said that.
So they're spending money because they may still be afraid that may one day be a reality.
Okay, well, shit, you right about that.
So at some point, the black family, the black male and the black female, they have us fighting over shit that we don't even have anything really to do with.
I don't disagree with that. What's your point, though?
The point is that the most powerful group in this country and on this planet, I believe, at this point, is the African Americans.
Mm-hmm.
We're the most powerful group.
By what measure?
Okay.
By what measure? I don't understand, because that's a tall order, is what you're saying.
It is a tall order.
That would essentially presuppose a lot of things that just aren't, true in terms of what is reality.
So let's look at the numbers. So let's look at the numbers. We're 13% of the population.
Mm-hmm.
That means that we have the ability to act as a submarine during the war of all battleships and carriers and destroyers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you mean by that. But
we if we put our minds together and we focus, we can literally take over the economics of America. If that's what our focus was on. Because we're so small of a group to where, we can put our hands into every little thing, and before you know it, it's like fire ants.
No. Okay, that's not how that works, actually. So the thing is that even though
it did with the Jews.
No, that ain't what happened. They almost got wiped out. What?
Okay, that's the reason why they got wiped out is because once they took power economically, once they took power, they started abusing the Germans.
But
that's the reason why. That's the reason why.
That was over multiple generations, and by that point, they weren't 13. They were 13% or less than 13% of the population.
No, they was just only 0.73% of the population.
Right, but ultimately,
1%.
But ultimately, for them to reach that position, took multiple steps in a long time. It didn't happen overnight. It wasn't something that was fomented over the course of 5 years, not 10 years, not even 100 years. So the thing is that ultimately their position is the dynamic in between how they got there completely different. Completely different. That's not even comparable in my view. But I understand the argument. It just isn't comparable.
But I mean, we got to start somewhere.
We fundamentally have different positions. And we've had different positions for our entire existence, at least in the countries that we're hailing from, in the time periods that we're hailing from.
But here's the whole deal. The white boy knows that it can happen. Why? Because he's literally fighting a war against us, right? that we're not even interested in fighting.
Okay.
True.
See, so he started a gender war with us, to keep us divided. He's
Did
doing
more
it
than
for a
that.
reason. So shouldn't
more
we?
than
So shouldn't we take pause for a second and say, what the hell is his reasoning? Why is he deeming us so important? Why is it that every time that they have an election, they want to get us involved? Why is it that every little thing that they do, they want to get black people involved? As if we're interested.
True.
Because the other option is extermination. That is the options that they have available to them. At least if you look at this in a real world sense, not in the sense of pro-black. That's what they see on the table for us. That was actually their intended outcome for us until World War II. They actually were going to exterminate us. So
Okay, and where's your proof? And where's your proof in that?
Here, I'll show you. Let's see. I believe it's called. It was actually brought up in the Negro question. Have you ever seen that or read that?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So essentially, it was trying to figure out what it was they wanted to do with black people after slavery. So in between the time of not abolition, after the Civil War, before World War II, they were essentially trying to figure out what it is they were going to do with Negroes in the country. I mean, it was even before that they were trying to figure out what they were going to do. Essentially, what they were going to do with Negroes, if they ever got the right to vote and essentially were able to plot out their own destiny, freedom in the way that they saw it, right? Because of what they considered us to be at that time, which was little more than a savage, okay, or workhorse. So what they did was they were trying to essentially figure out what the fuck they were going to do with us, and they essentially they came up with a plan to essentially figure out whether or not they were going to get rid of us. And so they thought about it and they considered it until they saw a lot of the Nazi ideology actually came out of America before the Nazi ideology adopted it. This was Americanism. This wasn't the Nazi ideology didn't foment out of nowhere. It was a lot of that came out of America first. So I mean, it's a bigger issue than you think. This didn't come out of left field. So what they decided to do was essentially integrate us, and through that.
Okay, now I can dig what you're saying with a little spoon, right? Because I do know that the Nazis, they did convene and they held, I guess, their meeting or whatever. It's the only outside country that was ever able to do this. They met in the Capitol building. Okay, and these are the Nazis, right?
Yep.
After that, America and Germany, they wind up falling out with each other, right? And so why do you think America wind up severing their ties with Germany? Long before America entered into the war, they severed their ties with Germany. So why do you think that was?
Because they were essentially trying to there's a lot there. They severed their ties with Germany prior to World War II because of the fomenting ideology surrounding Germany. That was kind of it also had something to, there was also an economic portion of that had to do with World War I and their position afterwards. So I mean there's a lot there to dig into. Ultimately, I don't have the capacity to answer your question poignantly. So You would have to ask a
Well,
historian.
I was just asking, what do you think?
I don't know.
Right.
You'd have to ask a historian to get a
Right.
direct answer.
Okay. Let me see here, because there was some more questions that I did have to ask you, bro, in relation to our women, and what they're doing in the communities, right? So you don't think that there's any way of talking our sisters down off the ledge in terms of what they're doing out here in these communities? You don't
No,
think so, do you?
arguably they've already jumped. There's no point. If there was a proverbial ledge that they were supposedly supposed to be talked down from, they've already been off of it for a while. We're just now actually coming to terms and grips with it. That's why we have these conversations in the Black Manosphere and in the sector, is because we're trying to get other people to understand that. To some extent, some people believe that they can affect change through economics. Some people believe that they can change culture, and some people believe that they can. I mean, in the purple pill sector, repair the relations in between black men and black women. That's where you get your obsidians from. So, I mean, that's okay for you to hold that view, but ultimately, we're already past that point in a lot of ways. I mean, I don't think there's any sort of argument you can make to substantiate the fact that only, 20% of black boys can read on grade level, something like that, give or take. There's no way to substantiate the claim that, women are divorcing, at least black women are divorcing at almost 80% clip. Even if you include all of the social arguments, there isn't any way to somehow repair the black community insofar as with a black woman at this current juncture.
So
Not through dialogue. It just
so
isn't possible.
so if you've seen me spending the amount of money that I'm spending to get these desired results, right? You as a black man, you wouldn't ask yourself, well, wow, there got to be a trick to this.
I mean, if you're talking about white people and their influence with socioeconomic outcomes, then I mean, no. I mean, they've already essentially made their claim to what exactly it is their aim is, insofar as the black family is concerned. So, I mean, it isn't any sort of revelation to me, at least, that they spend the money that they do to keep us separated. It never has been, in my view. I mean, it's been their aim to assimilate us. So one of the steps of assimilation is to split up the two parties, to keep them separate. And they do that for other reasons as well, because obviously separate people can't come together and essentially advocate for anything or affect much change in any real way, kinetic way. So, I mean, none of this is by accident by any stretch of the imagination. I don't feign to believe that, but ultimately that's where we are, and you have to deal with the situation as it is, not how I want it to be. In black utopia, yeah, black women and black men probably would be together, but ultimately that isn't the case. So you have to deal with what we have now, not what I want it to be, right?
Well, it's not even exactly my thoughts is not about where I want it to be, right? As much as, well, wait a second, he's spending a lot of money to try to get me to do something that I wouldn't ordinarily do, right? So that means that he's betting on my demise, right? So let me stop and let me shift directions from what it is that I'm going to do. So I'm not going to divest. I'm not going to go out, right? Because that's too easy. And he's not spending money on me divesting or not divesting, right? He's not spending money anymore on me not sleeping with white women, right? He don't care if I go to Spain to go be with another white woman.
That. I mean, not anymore, but that used to be the case. Miscegenation laws existed up until the late 70s?
Right, but so, he's not anymore.
That used to be the case.
But we're having a conversation about this now.
Okay.
Right, and so he's not spending any money now to come against me not sleeping with that white woman. And here's what I think. Here's what I believe that they found out. And here's what I think that they're trying to do. Because you do have that little one drop rule, right? You got that one drop, that's it, right? And based on their track record of assimilating people into their society, they figured out this one thing. Well, wait a second. We want everyone to be white. Everyone and everything on this planet is going to turn white at some point, right? So you'll have a white man with white features. You'll have a white Asian with Asian features. You'll have a white Native American or Indian or whatever you want to call them with Native American features. Now we're going to have a black man, right? We're going to have a white man with African features.
So here's my question to you. And this isn't, I mean, I already know, I know the answer, but I want to see if you're going to be able to come to the same conclusion. Is, do you think that maybe, and this is just a guess, right? Maybe what they're trying to do doesn't have so much to do with race, but it has more to do with socialization. What do you think?
Well, the best way to socialize amongst races is that, especially with white people, is to get everybody to look like them.
That's one of the ways, but that's not the only way.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes it better and it makes it easier for them, right? So, I mean, we could start talking interplanetary stuff. You know,
no, we don't need to. We can stay here on Earth. It doesn't have to go anywhere else.
Because
I mean, we have enough information to essentially, I guess, come to the conclusion that as far as culture and what we perceive to be as race, because race, let's just be clear, race as far as it's defined, at least in America and the West is concerned, is largely in relation to the tone of your skin, the color of your skin, and whatever your phenotype is, right? But ultimately, race didn't exist as a concept prior to that, not in the way that it is today. It just didn't.
I agree.
So ultimately, they don't, the way that you think that they view race is something that they've been convinced to believe in the first place. They actually all rallied around this, and this is where you get things like the European, what do you call it, the fucking European Union from. That's where that derives from, is because they all got on board with the same ideology and they all got on board with the same identity. What do all those Europeans call themselves? They call themselves white. So the thing is, ultimately, these people aren't actually as concerned about race as you think they are. They just convince you of that, and you buy into it because those are the rules that they've set and that they play by. That's because they're all clicked up and grouped up, but black people aren't, because we've been socialized in a setting where we believe in tribalism. At least we believe it. They believe in tribalism too, but in a different way. So ultimately, we fight amongst ourselves and we fight in tribal groups, but they play as a team. So see, they safe keep and gatekeep everything in terms of Asians and Arabs as well. We just don't see it because it's affected us. It's impacted us the most. They do,
but they don't think about race as much because they far past that, and they on to greener pastures. Hell, they so far past race, they just like, look, we're looking for life forms on another planet. We have already achieved our mission here. Okay, we're good here. Now, how are we going to go out past the stratosphere?
I don't know. I don't know if I would completely agree with that. I think that they do also have a combination of race mixed in there, but it's only insofar as essentially them continuing to exist, because their existence is a constant threat and will always be. If they continue to exist, will be under constant threat, just due to the natural conditions of this earth that they created in the first place, in terms of natural outcomes in relation to industrialization and pollution and all the rest. If you believe in any of that shit, if you don't, that's okay too. But ultimately, their numbers have been declining for quite some time all across the West, so they're on their way out. You know, so I mean, it isn't a question of if anymore. It's just a question of when. I mean, shit, we import people from fucking South America right now as it is to America, right? That's how they boost up their numbers in the first place, because they make a delineation between who is a black South American, who is a white South America. So I mean, it isn't their population has been dwindling, so it isn't something.
But see,
It isn't as big. It isn't as big of a thing as you think that they're stuck on as you think it is. It
that's
is,
just
but it
it, right?
isn't. Not at the same time.
Hold on, brother.
Yeah.
See, and that's just it. Everyone thinks that their numbers are dwindling, and they're not. They're expanding. Why? Because it's about the color of the skin. It doesn't mean anything else to white people besides the color of the skin. Just look at all of these groups that's out here. Asian people at one point used to be black. Native people, well, they used to be red, they black, red, whatever, right? They used to be a totally different color.
Native Americans were the original quote unquote savages before racism became a thing. Believe it or not.
Well, I mean, we can all agree with that, right? But
No, I don't
but
agree. Fuck no, I don't think.
Well, I mean, I don't agree with the savagery. I don't agree with the savagery part. I'm just saying I agree with what white people were saying that they were prior to this, right? But the deal is that if you look at their skin color now, they're white people now, and I think that we need to be a little bit more concerned with that, other than all of this other crap that we're going. Because look at a lot of black people. A lot of black people that would have been, I'm talking about African Americans here, that would be beautiful black people, right? They look damn near white without any makeup. So at what point are we going to start saying, hey, wait a second, as brothers, hey, wait a second, he's trying to move me in another direction. And he's trying to move me into an easier direction, right? He's fighting me against what should be easy, but now he's trying to move me into this easy direction. He's trying to divert me to go over here, but I can see him spending trillions of dollars. It's like, wait a second, you're spending trillions of dollars fighting against me having a good relationship. Whereas if you spent the same trillions of dollars, right? Wow, I'm getting an error message here on this live. But go ahead.
They could, yeah, I mean, they could multiply. They could capitalize on us. With a positive investment. Yes, but there's something else. They're saying that okay, if we are somehow having these healthy relationships, we're gonna do what? And that's the question.
Let me
That's
address
the
this
question.
because I'm actually gonna hop off here in a minute. But I'm gonna address this. I see you got the message highlighted. What do I mean by tribalism? What I mean by tribalism is that most, not all, but most other groups of people in the world, um, there are a lot of groups that operate under tribal identities, in such a way where they believe in country, they believe in who it is that they are and their identity surrounding their individual culture's race. And I don't mean that in a continent perspective. Um, what white people have done is they have invented this thing called race, and they identify each other through the color of their skin using this lens. They don't actually see uh, well, at least not to a larger extent. They don't collectivize under the banner of, I come from Greece. Do they on an individual basis? When you get them by themselves, sure they do, but not when they try to get things done, not when they try to pass agendas, not when they try to affect change or accrue any sort of economic outcomes. They just don't do that. That's not how they move as a people. So they group up. We do group up, but we group up in a tribal sense, not in a collective sense. That's the difference in between them and I guess most, not all, but most of the rest of the world. You know, I would say that the Middle East and Africa and parts of Asia as well, not all, but parts of Asia as well, and much of South America all operate under tribalistic perspectives, which is why they are largely unable to affect as much change as Europe and America is because ultimately they don't see things the same way. So they are able to essentially take advantage of the fact that much of the world acts in a tribalistic sense. And so they only end up caring about whatever it is their own individual country's agenda is, which leaves them in bad positions. I mean, a lot of the time, it leaves them in a very bad position. So, I mean, if South America and Africa and the Middle East is anything to go off of, which are the countries that are largely still subscribed to tribalist ideals, and then I mean, it's safe to say that that's what's going on. That's the way that I interpret it. Now, I don't interpret it in the sense of uh, I guess it's traditional sense of what let me see what the actual definition is here. Let me bring it up so I can quote it directly. That way you can have a sense of what the word actually means. So the actual definition of is that the state of or being organized in a tribe or tribes. And I think that to a large extent that's what uh the rest of the world operates under. They just they expand that to a national sense or a country cultural sense, and that's why so many of these countries end up at war. And it's also a part of the reason why I would say that Europe for much of its history was at war before they came under the umbrella of the white identity and essentially adopting the same ideological beliefs. That's what I think. I mean, does anybody disagree before I take off?
No, 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 no.
No, bro. I think you probably answered this question. Hey, you guys, this was just a stream that kind of carried over a little bit from Art's channel because he had to run, right? So if any of you guys have any questions that's in the chat or something like that, fire away. Because PK has got to run in. Do you have to go?
Yeah, it probably, because I need to get some sleep too. Shit,
Right, because we've been there for a while.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think as what we're looking at is the reasons why, and I think to some degree they're more than financial in a lot of ways. I think, like you said, with the Black Messiah, and I haven't even had that in my mind for a long time. But I think in a lot of ways, when you were saying tribalism and you the black, in a lot of ways, I think that the black people in America, we are the linchpin that is really, I think, holding together their culture and their way of life, and I think without us being under their thumb, that they're going to have a hard time basically interacting with the rest of the world.
I think that and I may be a little off base. You guys can poke holes in my theory because that's exactly what I want you guys to do, right? But the way I think of it is like this. The African American is the first genetically modified humanoid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll explain to you why.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're the only group who has been exposed to the so-called human, right? Or white people, because this is a word that they come up with. So this whole human thing, right? And the human and their classification of what is a human, what makes a human, what's a man, what's a woman, and they are actually right now redefining their terms. right?
Mhm.
I mean that they redefine their terms more than any other species of people that I have ever seen, right? But anyway, so if you look at the foods that we've been eating, the constant stress that we've been under, right? It makes it perfect for us to be a human transform, right? Look at the amount of exposure. We are the only other group that has been exposed to white people in this type of setting for the longest, right? And I don't think anyone can argue against that. We've been up close and personal with our captors for this long,
Right.
which makes us some sort of hybrid type of group,
Yeah.
right? And now they want this hybrid type of group to go out and start mixing with other people. I learned this in history in college, and they were talking about how whites start getting dogs to mix breed. All right, and how they had to get the dogs out of their habitats in order to take them to get them to go to other people, in order to continue to mix breed, and how they wanted some dogs to breed in certain habitats and other ones to breed with other dogs. So this is how they have like all of these show dogs and so forth and so on, right? So imagine during slavery, they have this idea that, oh wow, look at these great men, right? Let's see if we could take them and make them super slaves, right? What is that black dog? A cane corso, a cane court, like one of those dogs, right?
Okay.
Hey PK, thanks man for showing up, man, and thanks for gracing me with your presence on my panel, man. I really appreciate it. And I'll wrench you up as well. Everybody get a wrench tonight. Everybody get a wrench. Well, this morning actually. So, but if you think about like the cane corso, right? And I looked at that dog. I'm like, damn, that's a nice looking black dog. You know what I'm saying? I don't like dogs, but there it is, right? So with that, what if this is what they're trying to do with us? This is what their plan is for us. Don't just keep mixing cane corsos. We don't need more cane corsos. No, we need you to go out and we need you to mix with this Spanish. I don't know what the hell. Pick another dog, right? And this is who we need you guys to go mix with.
Right.
Okay. And so how do we do that? Well, we have to influence them to do so. So the best way to do that is to make them hate breeding with other cane corsos.
Okay.
Right. So, every time the male cane corso goes to breed with the female cane corso, she snaps at his nuts. No, I don't want to breed with you. No, she's displaying her displeasure about him, right?
Is this something you're saying for real?
No, what I'm saying is that this is exactly
dogs.
No, I'm just saying that this is how you would do it with a dog.
That's what I'm saying. Is this what you would do with dogs? I'm saying.
I mean, okay, yeah. If I want a certain group of dogs, okay, here's where I learned that from. My uncle had some dogs. He was breeding Dobermans. Okay, and he had a dog, Death Wish, and what was the girl's name, right? And the girl, what she kept doing was she kept snapping at Death's nuts, right? And my uncle had turned the Doberman against what was that damn? Because he had a pit bull that he was trying to get Death Wish to mate with. It was a white pit bull. And that's exactly what Uncle Dean was doing. And I'm like, yo, you know, she just keeps snapping at his nuts. So one day that both of them start fighting, you know what I'm saying? And he turned around and he had wound up getting bit by both his Dobermans, right? Because he had to go out there and break them up. But the thing is that if I wanted to do that, right? If I wanted to get my cane corsos to go mix with another dog, only thing I have to do is pit them against each other.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Then the male, because quite naturally he's going to want sex. He's going to go breed with the other dog.
Right.
Okay. He's going to go be with the other bitch. Right.
Right.
So this is the diabolical nature of white people. It is simple, right? And we're crying about it.
Do you think they have us trained enough now that pulling the trigger on this agenda right at this point would be beneficial to them?
Well, it's easy, right? Just look, the 1970s, black women used to have like 19 kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the black church, one woman will have like 13 kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I grew up in the Church of God in Christ, right? So I seen them down in the first row. This is the mother of the church. She had 19 kids. This one had 17, 16 kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then one wall of women that had 100 and some kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they all the way down to what is it? 1.5, 2.5 kids? 1.5?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 40 years later, right? So it's advantageous for us to stop breeding.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the way down to the point to where now we don't even want to talk to each other.
Right. Okay,
So
gotcha.
I would, you know, so if I'm the breeder, I'm making you hate that bitch so much that first you'll identify she's a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is a bitch? It's just a female. It's a female dog. See, I'm the dog. She's the bitch.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first two things that he had us. Man ain't nothing. Black man ain't nothing but dogs. Ain't nothing but a dog. Well, shut up, bitch. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now the breeding, the opposite of, you know, now my two cane corsos, they now understand what they are. The black man is the dog. The black woman is the bitch.
Gotcha.
All right. So now let the war commence. Okay. They know that they're dogs. Now we don't want them to breed. So what do we start doing? When the bitches start wanting to have babies, send them down to the Planned Parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
Now that they're going down to the Planned Parenthood, we can abort all of these dogs that would have been, because we don't want any more cane corsos.
Right.
Okay. No more dogs. No more of this breed. We have enough of them on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but how do we stop them from breeding together? Well, we got to pit them against each other. So at every twist and turn, we're going to use the kids. We're going to use white supremacy racism. We're going to use whatever methodology that we can to keep them fighting. Right? So all the way down to the point where black people are going to start having a negative birth death rate in America.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
well, yeah,
and then
that's their introduction of the LGBTQ is part of that agenda too, as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And then they're saying, I was watching this little joint on TLC today, on Facebook. A man has a baby. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just because she took hormone pills to have a beard, that's still a woman.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And you cannot convince me otherwise. She has female body parts.
Oh.
So how the confusion is now they're trying to give men those same female body parts to call a man a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I just look at these type of things, and I'm just wondering, like, is anyone else seeing this?
Okay. Yeah. Well, so that's basically what's happening. You know, a negative birth rate, that definitely is their goal. You know, for sure. You know, but when you were alluding to us also breeding with other groups. You know, to what degree would it be advantageous for them to have us breed with other groups as well? Is two, while saying in terms of pulling the trigger, would our influence on anybody else be of benefit to them?
Okay, so I got a question. Outside of the military, is there any Mexicans in Afghanistan?
No.
So, do you see where I'm going with this?
No, not yet. Keep going.
All right.
Keep going.
So the idea is that until you start seeing Mexicans in Afghanistan and vice versa,
Mm-hmm.
the white man's mission is not going to be complete. So what he needs us to do is that he needs us to continue his process. See, we just like cogs in his wheel,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? We're just part of what it is that he's doing. See,
We're the template.
Well, yeah, but this is no less than what they were doing with that so-called Alexander the Greek,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, they did the same thing with the Babylonian women,
Really?
right? Yeah. So they've been out and they've been spreading their seed, but now that their seed has been spread, now they want us to go out and spread the seed with other groups. Because, and the one thing that gives them confidence and knowing that after a while, everybody on the planet is going to look like us, just with different features.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody on the planet is going to look like a white dog.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to be able to tell that that's a pit bull, that was once a cane corso, so forth and so on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like cancer in the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
The cancer is not going to stop until the whole body looks cancerous.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the way he thinks. So bro, do you got anything else that you want to add?
No, man. I like going down that road. That's we're gonna have to continue that. This yeah, because I need to think a lot. I think that I need to think even more about the global agenda that is definitely part of the manipulating of our national ethnic group here too.
Well, I think that he has us. See, the white man is very cunning. And this is how cunning he is. He has people thinking that the earth is the center of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how vast outer space is.
Right.
It's inconceivable, right?
Right.
But he has everyone thinking that this small little rock, the third rock from the sun, is the center of everything.
Right.
Right. So, and this is the way that he has us thinking,
Mm-hmm.
that we are the center of the world.
Yeah.
And so we're not thinking outside of, our cell phones. We're not thinking outside of our current situation.
No, not at all.
Right. And so at some point we got to challenge ourselves to do so, because that and so if you hear me being like hard on women,
Mm-hmm.
right, it's because they've been having it so easy to where they don't realize they just want more of the easy.
Mm-hmm.
and then they get upset with you when you don't give them easy when you come around.
Right. Right.
Well, that's called machismo. You know what I'm saying? That's called masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be opposing. We're supposed to be opposites because we're supposed to be yin and yang.
Yeah. And was that you
But
talking earlier about that? I remember you were saying that. Was that you? I'm not sure because you were saying about them being angry if we disappointed them, or I don't know if that was you saying that, but basically, yeah, that's true. Is that basically any disappointment they see as hatred. And
right.
and that has trickled down to the boys too, as well. I guess that was you because we on
Yeah.
a panel. So but the boys too. Yeah. You were telling that story about your sister's brother or whatever. So yeah, so then too, the emasculated Pookie and Ray Ray basically types, even if they grow, even if they're not even in the hood, they still grow up with that same frequency. Unfortunately, what I'm saying. Even if they got money, a lot of these Pookie and Ray Rays come from families that had money. You know what I'm saying? And for real, if you really want to keep it 100 about it, all of these Pookie Ray Rays wasn't poor. It's just that they had these single mother environments that really had them basically just go along with the same template of an emasculated male that has his chest out, trying to compensate for a lack of masculinity. And then they too, they walk around wanting attention, and if you don't give them that attention, if you don't cater to them too, they become violent, and they're able, unlike the female, to be even more violent, and that means that they're dangerous.
And that's absolutely true because he thought that I was going to engage with him.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the issue is not me. See, and this is where manhood comes in at, right? This is where manhood comes in at because you're thinking that the issue is with me, but that's you and your so-called, I guess you want to call it Pookie and Ray Ray, right?
Mm-hmm.
Demeanor, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is your disposition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not upset with you. I'm actually doing something that's trying to help you save your life. Because when these guys come, right,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to pull the same attitude that you were pulling with me. And what's going to happen is, your mama is going to have one less boy in her home,
Mm-hmm.
one less son, and you're the only son that she has.
Mm-hmm.
And the issue here is you don't see it. You don't see it. And I'm not going to cry for you.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm not going to cry for you is because
that's what your mother wanted. That's what your mother wanted
well,
in the first place.
that's what your mother asked for. And when I see and because my thought process is that when I see her, I'm going to have a few choice words for her.
Right.
And it's going to be memorable. Because what you did to him throughout his entire life. I mean, she literally during the time when it was time when they can steal the kids and go across the country, that's what she did.
Mm-hmm.
Took her from his father.
Mm-hmm.
Because she knew best, hiding under the guise of he abused me.
Mm.
Right? And it resonates. And so there's nothing that I can say to you.
Shit, my ex-wife act like shit. She used to punch me, and she got people thinking that I was abusing her and shit.
Well, yeah, right. 70%, and this is the child support office, right? They did a study. 70% of all domestic violence cases, the woman was the aggressor.
Mm-hmm.
So 7 out of 10 times,
mm-hmm.
she's the problem. Now, there's no laws for that. Okay. Now, there are laws everywhere where you'll hear, you know, it's domestic violence if he looks at me a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
right? But
Shit,
where is
my ex-wife was talking about was trying to blow up a situation where my kids, we were divorced, and my kids, they had gotten to this in this pattern with their mother, not with me, where they felt like if they didn't like the food, they could just sit at the table and not eat, and I'm old enough to be like, okay, this can't fly. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
right?
my kids are good. You know what I'm saying? I never, I don't even know if I ever really physically disciplined my kids, because my kids, by osmosis, they took in a lot of my energy. So any acting up, I never saw it. I never saw it because when they were with me, somehow they just knew by osmosis how to behave, all except for this eating issue. So when they sat at the table going on 1 hour, I'm like, oh hell no. So so I pulled at my daughter. I think I pinched my daughter. I might have pinched him, or my son. He has basically a buzz cut, so he don't have no hair. But I pulled the little piece of hair. I might have pulled on the ear type of thing. So finally, they got their ass to eating, and to this day they understand when you sit at the table, you have to give thanks for what's in front of you. And but the thing is, well, my son went to his mother and complained, and she came at me as though I had goddamn almost beat the child to death, and was talking about the
Right.
police and all this other type of mess. And I'm like, man, how you in front of my son talking about the police? Why are you filling his head up where he can call the police on me? Like, bitch, what's
Well,
wrong with you?
well, here it is. Because sure enough, as you start talking about the sisters and you start talking about the children, the undermining of the black man, and this is the reason why you guys will hear me say there's nothing, the only thing that should come out of a black woman's mouth in the presence of a black man is worship.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Because anything else is going to be bad for everyone.
Problematic.
It's going to be problematic.
Yeah.
Okay? So if she's opening up her mouth, it should be for worship of the black man.
Like,
Now, you
don't have nothing nice to say. Don't say nothing at all.
Exactly. But in this case, we don't want them to say anything, just anything nice.
Yeah.
No, she should be saying, I praise you and you only.
Mm-hmm. But the crazy thing is, when she remarried, she used to praise me to her fucking her next husband. Like, so like what kind of madness is this?
Because okay, so and then my views, everyone else don't have to take this view, but my views is this. The woman is not going to do any better than her baby father.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? She's not going to do no better than you.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why she's with the other guy is so that, one, she can have some drama. She can bring somebody else into her shit. And this is the reason why I say that stepfathers on this planet, anybody who decides to take up with another chick who already have kids is a asshole. He's a piece of fuck shit. Whatever words that you want to use to describe the worst motherfucker on the planet, it will be stepfathers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The black women, they do not take time for themselves, to love themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They don't take time to love the children. They don't take time to love the communities in which they live in. They don't take time for anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But they sure as hell know how to run from one relationship to another.
Yep.
They know how to make time to suck a dick.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to make time to fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And they know how to make time to go back to school, and they know how to make time to go get the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we're talking about here is a group of evil people.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have somebody like Sister Shirley just come up on a panel and just start talking, it's because she has made it okay and made it seem okay to those other girls that this is the right thing to do.
But you know, as she alluded, she got 3 boys at home. She's a black single mother. Like, bitch, you worrying about the wrong things. You got 3 boys at home. This ain't where it's at. You don't need to be on TV. You need to be at home securing your sons, man. What's
Well,
wrong?
the thing is this is that instead of being on TV, what she's opted for is what the white man has told her. If you go out and get more money than your husband, now I don't know what happened to the kid's father. The
Right.
kid's father could be dead or in jail, so there is some caveats to this whole deal. If the
Right.
kid's father is passed away,
Mm-hmm.
right, or they're in jail for life,
Right.
which means if they're getting out in 7 years, oh no, you got 7 years to hold up. Okay, because in that amount of time, what women are supposed to be doing, especially with children, every waking hour that they get should be planning toward the children's future.
Yeah.
The thing about black folks is that we're not really futuristic type people. We focus more on the past.
Well, that comes from the female dominated aspect. The female is never thinking forward. You know, she's always about the present moment. You know, so we've basically allowed her habitual thinking pattern to take over the whole trajectory of our community.
Yeah, and I've seen that, but the whole thing is that they knew when they were getting that money, right, from public aid.
Mm-hmm.
They knew when they were getting that money that they had no interest in the community.
Yeah.
Prior to that, black women had to get up, get out of their homes, and become part of the community so that they can get the goods and services that they need or wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to interact with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But now, over time, there's no interaction, basically,
Mm-hmm.
and there's much more of a distraction when black men get together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Shirley, right now, I don't know what her background is. I don't know what her situation is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to speak into this mic real closely. Shirley, go pull that shit with somebody else. Go over to white man and go pull that shit with them. Do not ever, anytime you see this character, do not ever come on a panel with him. Because your words and the words that come out of your mouth it exposes exactly who you are.
Man, when she said that that's all you gonna get, she might as well have been cussing you out when she said that. You know, you understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
It said a whole multitude. I
I'm
was
like,
like, oh my God, I can't believe she said that. You know, she would have been better off cussing you out, bro.
right.
She would have been she would have saved more face if she went emotionally ballistic. She let the whole cat out the fucking bag with that response.
Now I'm gonna tell you guys something. When you speak to people, you got to speak to them where they are. So when you're speaking to women, you got to speak to them about emotion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I was asking her was, how do you think we feel when
Yeah,
you make certain statements?
you did do that. That should go back. That should go into the toolbox of how, because you got her to the point to where she revealed herself.
Right. And basically what she was saying was, I don't give a fuck about how y'all feel.
Yeah, that's it.
Why do you think I should care about how you feel?
Mm-hmm.
See, what about some empathy? What about some goddamn sympathy? Because if you're empathetic, then you would be a champion for us.
Mm-hmm.
See, they want us to be empathetic. See, the whole thing is that they wanted us to cross over into their world.
Mm-hmm.
See,
But
I'm not
their-
going to cross
But
over.
their world ain't their world is nothing but chaos. You don't even have a real world to offer a nigga. You want me to come over to that? You're fucking mad. You're crazy.
I mean, absolutely nuts, right? So, with that, she basically said, fuck y'all feelings, right? We don't care about us black women. We don't care about how you feel. And she knew exactly what I did. You want to know why? Because that's what you do to women when you want to have a conversation with them. Hold on a second. You got the way you feel. I got the way I feel. And so women know when you having this feeling conversation,
Mm-hmm.
no one's right or wrong about how they feel.
Right.
Okay. See, she thought I was going to come over here and start giving us some facts, data, and statistics.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I'm going to give you your conversation right back at you. And then now I know this lady here, she don't give a shit about how we feel. So now why am I talking to you?
Nah, she don't. She even went so far as she started out saying, okay, black women do this so they can feel comfortable, was her word, remember? And then she turned
Right.
around and said, oh, you want me to say this so you can feel comfortable. So you're saying that you're justified in being a traitor for your comfort.
Yeah.
But
For
then
your comfort.
But then you're gonna turn around and not give the black man comfort and then expect what?
Well, see, here's the whole deal is that she said that was okay because black women need security amongst other things. Those other things, comfort,
Mm-hmm.
financial security,
Mm-hmm.
right? Roof over their head, all of these things. And by default, the sister should be saying, brother, you know what, black man? I will sleep outside with you underneath the stars if we have to until you figure out how to solve this problem.
I'm gonna tell you this. I had a girlfriend, right? I mean, I've seen so many things firsthand. Man, I had a girlfriend. So she got two brothers. She got a brother and a sister. Man, this chick, and she got a white stepdad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm here in Georgia. So her mother, with 3 kids, got with this white man and lived in a fucking tent at the bottom of a fucking stone mountain.
Man, hey, I'm laughing my ass off because a white boy will pitch a tent in a heartbeat.
Yo.
Oh,
She didn't
man.
complain. She didn't complain about living in that tent with that white man. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, you know what I'm saying? He got a fucking janitor job. From the janitor job
Eating pork and beans and hot dogs.
yes, and then you know because it was at a school. Then because he worked at the school, he started taking classes. Then he graduated a degree. Then he became a teacher. So she went through a whole fucking course with this white man, from the fucking living in a tent, bro, without a complaint to this motherfucker. Come on, man. Are they giving
Yo,
us any? Are they giving us any of that? You can give a chick a home, and can't get any kind of compliance like that.
well, see, and that's the reason why this has to be worship. Now, the Bible says this, says that God will supply all of your needs according to his riches and glory. Now, people don't realize like there was some sort of great cataclysmic event. There was something that happened that caused North Africa to be covered by sand. But prior to that, there was white people, especially white men, doing black worship. Okay.
Mhm.
They were doing black worship.
Mhm.
And people in Africa had everything that the white man needed in order to survive. That's why he kept evading. And that's why he's invading even right now today, because he has everything that he needs to survive. Now, we're not going to get so far off into that. Here's the point that I'm making here is that now the whole script has been flipped. Okay.
Mhm.
Some black men will still worship the white Jesus, but it was in Africa where the white man was worshiping the black woman as God,
The Black
a
Madonna, yeah.
goddess.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Now
that became a double-edged sword for us because that's that okay. Now the thing was now it's like, oh, you can call him on that. He worshipped the Black Madonna, and that became a universal sticking point. So then she's like, okay, the white man worships me, the Pope worships me. Now she looking at me. Now you know what I'm saying? Now she's
right.
like, okay, the white man worshiped me. Now she trying to
Hey,
look at me.
and what you think them brothers said? Man, don't you get sidetracked by this bullshit now. You know what I'm saying? But now, if you look at how the roles have been reversed to where now the black woman is worshiping the white man.
Mm.
Now, let me break this down to you, because I can see how many people is like coming and going, right? Which is kind of a distraction. I wish I could actually take this off, but you're about to get a jewel dropped on you.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible says, your God shall supply all of your needs according to his riches. He says, I am God. I will supply all of your needs according to my riches and glory.
Yes.
Now, if that ain't a goddamn white man statement, if I ain't never heard one.
So he's you get what I give you.
Well, no. Anything that you need.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that you think that you need, I'll get it.
Okay.
I'll supply this for you.
Okay.
Right? So when you go to a white church and you hear that, and you hear only thing you have to do is believe,
mm-hmm.
then no matter what you think you need, no matter what the condition is, he'll give it to you.
Right.
So let me give you an example. Lord, I need a car. Oh, Jesus, I got 11 kids. Mm-hmm. And I got all of these 9 kids I need to put in the car. Oh, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, I got my income tax. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to get a car.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Forget about the fact the interest rate is 17%. Forget about the fact that that's not even how the whole process works. But you'll be willing to take on debt, knowing you can't make the next payment.
Man, every black woman.
And then say that and then say Jesus did it for you.
Yeah.
God blessed you.
Like, Jesus can't give you a used car, bitch, or something.
Well, the whole way that the process works is that God will give you what it is that you need, but it's how you know it's actually God is that it will come at a zero cost to you. But this is how blessings work. When Jesus, according to the scripture, if you notice, that after he blessed someone, there was something called lack, and there was zero lack. That it means that it doesn't matter if you needed a house or a car. Your health would be You wasn't paying any notes. It will just come. You wasn't paying any notes, right? It will be free, but it didn't stop there.
Mm-hmm.
It happened in every area of your life.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the whole point. That's how you know it's God.
Mm.
You see, but you're just focusing on this one mortgage now that you have to pay because of the immediate gratification. And that's how you know it's the white man. Now, here's where the gem starts. Look around you. Everyone just stop for a second and look around. And you will see that the white man has provided, not invented, but he has provided all of your needs. Your soaps, your toilet paper. At a cost now. He didn't say he'll do it for free. That scripture did not say he'll do it for free. He said, I'll do this according to my riches and glory.
Yes.
Okay? So he has, in essence, replaced himself as God in your life.
Yes.
Now he is your God.
Yeah. Yeah. At a cost.
At a cost now. And what has it been costing us? It's been costing us our children, our communities, our way of life, our health. Right? So now this cost is so great. Now black men are finally saying, hold on a second now. We can't do this shit no more. Because this has got way too far out of hand. But wait a second. He's your God now as well. You haven't, the black man in the manosphere has not denounced this white man as God. What do I mean by that? Well, he's supplying all of your needs as well. According to his riches and glory. So by proxy to complain about the black woman is futile. He's taking care of her and he's taking care of you. So what make you think that we're going to get some sort of result outside of what we've been getting already? That's called insanity.
Right.
So until you take on the responsibility of providing water, food, water, shelter, clothing, the essentials of life, we're going to continue to have this problem.
Right. But the problem is that based on our matriarchal thinking, we don't think that should be something that should be our responsibility. We don't see ourselves, okay, let me get this degree or whatever so that I can get to the point to where I can have the manufacturing capability to provide all of these different aspects of life. We don't see that.
And I get exactly what it is you're saying, bro. I get that, right? And how do we know that this is so? Because you do not see our sisters prioritizing our boys. You don't see them saying things to our sons and putting our sons in position by telling them, you're going to own, son, what you need to do, we're going to figure out a way to take back the natural resources of this planet. We're going to get back to doing what we need to do. Mommy is going to take care of you. I know daddy's not here, but this is your responsibility.
Right. She only leaves his responsibility up to the point of caring for her. Not for him to go out and be this man that overtakes the white man. She never tells him that you're going to overtake the white boy. I don't know
at all
others that have ever said that.
At all. That's why the question was, how many pro-black women we have? Zero.
It's zero. If you ain't telling your sons to overtake the white man, it's 0. Because
Well,
none of them are.
okay, so let's say sisters don't have it in them to say, exterminate the white man, right?
Mhm.
Let's say that.
Right.
She don't even have them saying, put yourself on an equal playing field as him.
Right.
To where, you don't let that man have more money. It's a competition.
Yeah. Yeah. She should have put that in our head. Like, yo, man, don't let that white man outdo you. She'll have you fighting back and forth with that other poor nigga down the street. Say, no, don't let that other poor nigga outdo you. But hell, you trying to get me
Oh
to
no.
with
She'll
another
give you a
nigga?
firearm for that dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
She'll give you a firearm for that man.
Yes, sir.
But she won't give you the firearm, let alone the ammunition to at least start doing business with this guy, the white man.
Right.
So to answer Wally's question, right? To answer Wally's question, so what are you saying is black women need to deny the white God? The answer is yes. Okay. See, the only God that you are supposed to worship is the one who looks like you. Because that's the one who you can identify with.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
the black woman can see God, but she either sees it as the black Madonna, but if it's the male aspect, who is it? It's the white man.
it's the white man.
I was on
but-
another panel, and I don't remember when or what exactly, or what they were referencing exactly, but they were saying some feminists were saying that it was the woman who gave the apology that's going around all over social media now. The black woman who gave the long apology and shit.
With the white hair, with the
Yeah.
black and white hair.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
some
all right.
people looked her up and saw that she was actually LGBTQ, and she said she got a lot of degrees. They said she comes from a entertainment background where they actually saw her saying, I don't know if it was a skit or what, but saying the black woman is the most powerful and the white man is most powerful. We need to get together.
Now, okay. The reason why she's saying that is because of that Bible verse. Now that she sees that this white boy is supposed to be capable. Now, let me tell you the joke that the white man played on the black man. Shit's hilarious. I mean, you can't make it up. They found that from the time of Reconstruction all the way up to the 1970s, that we were still capable of being scientists, warriors, builders, and so forth and so on, right? And then a black man said, well, here's what we need at the very least, since you guys are not going to give us equality. And if you don't believe what it is that I'm saying, you guys, do you know about do you guys know who Whitney Young is?
I know who Whitney Young is, but it's not coming. He's not coming to my mind right now.
Okay, so you guys have to watch this documentary about Whitney Young. It's called The Power Broker. Okay, Whitney Young was the black. He was the president. He was a black man who was a president of the Urban League, which is a national organization, and he headed the Urban League.
Okay.
What happened was they were trying to exclude black men in terms of being part of the labor force, because they said we no longer need the black man anymore. Okay, So he has to go out and be able to forge his own way. We don't have to let him come to work in our companies. We just don't. So what he did was they negotiated, right? The new price of the slave. And you guys can look this up in terms of wages. Okay. Where the white man makes a whole dollar. Okay. White woman makes like 80 something cents on that dollar. The black woman makes like 68 cents, and the black man makes half of that dollar.
Huh?
Yes. We're relegated to making 50 cents on a dollar. So anytime a black man is in a position, oh, I make $100,000 a year. Well, you actually should be making 2.
Right. For that
Okay.
position.
For that position. Okay. But the issue here is that they have put us at that permanent level. So this is the reason why. So the white man is essentially what he's doing is he creating distance between his competition, amongst his competition. Then he turned around and said, here's what the mandate is, right? And in some states, it's actually illegal to discuss your wages at work.
Right. It is. Yeah.
And then he says, well, it's not a racial thing. It's not a gender thing. It just lowers the morale of the workplace when the workers do that, right? To hide the fact that you're not getting paid the same dollar. So any gig that a man is doing now, who negotiated this? It was Whitney Young. It was Whitney Young, Martin Luther King, A. Philip Randolph, and a couple other guys was in the room.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And so in order to get this whole civil rights thing done in terms of having a package, and even Whitney Young, I think the next president after JFK was LBJ. And they had a lot of discussion because the white man did not want to let the black man come into corporate America.
Okay.
And all of this happened within a short amount of time. I say roughly about 3 years.
Although the black woman had already been there.
Had been in corporate America working as a secretary.
Yeah, she had already been there.
Okay. Right. Okay. But we demanded not only that, but higher pay. Right. So we may receive higher pay, even higher pay as a white man. Right. But we'll be getting half of that pay. So we won't make our full dollar.
Right.
So you would say, well, yeah, well, I know it's some black men. They make more money than white men. Well, of course they will.
They're supposed to.
Because they're supposed to. The issue is
that position pays more, motherfucker.
Right. So now they're getting a full-time black man for half the price.
Half the price. And as you know, to add to that, why is it always when it's talk about pay equality, it's always they compare the black woman to the white man? You never ever hear a comparison pay rate between the black man and anybody else.
Well, and here's the reason why. It's the same reason why the white man's dogs got better health insurance than black people. See, it's this whole deal about who's been the most help to this white man over time for his survival. See, by proxy, the white man will take care of the white woman because that keeps his version of the white race going. Right? So he'll make sure she's taken care of. But he will treat his dog better than he treats her. You never heard of a white man coming home drunk from work or wherever he came drunk, beating on the dog.
Right. Never.
Because a dog is what? A man's best friend.
Yeah.
So you will never hear about a white man coming home beating his best friend to death.
Nope. If another white man heard that, he come to the door and shoot that other white man.
Right here, come right. Hey, I thought it was just me that noticed that. I thought for sure it was just me who noticed that.
No,
You do not hurt a dog.
He'll come shoot that motherfucker for sure.
You do not hurt a dog. Okay. So the deal is that now it's getting to the point where, you know, the sisters is like, well, it's our turn. It's our turn to be taken care of. And the white boy is obliging because you can get a black woman to do something for $415 of food stamps a month.
Mm-hmm.
She will do whatever he asks.
Mm-hmm.
He'll show up. Hey, I got that $415. She'll say, okay, nigga, it's time for you to get out. He got that $415. He showed up with the EBT card, and you know, mama got to eat.
Shit, here in Atlanta now, they got that new pilot where they getting the black woman is getting $850, I think, or a certain amount of black women. I forgot how many, but it's a large number of black women. They're given $850 a month, no questions asked, no tracking of how they spending it.
Jesus. And the sisters are buying into this.
They love
Why?
it.
Because he is our God.
They love it. And
He
then,
is our God.
And then to even give a little caveat here, so you know, I just today I just post, you know, but this happened, you know, maybe a while ago, but I just came across a screenshot I took where I posted about Reginald Lewis. Reginald Lewis, the first black, supposedly the first black billionaire, and so he wrote a book called "Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun?" Right, and this is the book cover. All I did was fucking post the goddamn YouTube about him talking about his book, and the YouTube says your comment goes against our community standards.
Man, you know what? I don't pay anything. I don't pay any attention to that because there was a post that somebody had reposted, and it was about they gave a compliment to Cardi B or somebody said that she had, you know, she had some nice something on or something like that, and they flagged her for that too, right? So you know, I don't, you know, but it's nuts, right?
Yeah,
it's nuts.
But it's just showing the level of content, you know, the hostile environment they have for even discussing a comparison between a black man and a white man in that manner.
Well, okay, and so that all right. A lot of black guys, a lot of black folks will say, "Well, hey, listen, how can you say that? I have white friends." Listen, friends don't let friends drive drunk.
That's right.
Okay, yeah. Friends don't let friends be poor.
Mm-hmm.
At least not the friends that I know.
Right.
Right. You know, friends look out.
Yes.
Now, if you go and ask me as your friend, hey man, I'm hungry. You know, can I have something to eat? Either I'm going to A, give you the whole sandwich, or B, I'm going to cut it in half, and you're going to have half my sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you ask a white boy, and I want you guys to test this. Go up to a white boy and ask for some of his sandwich, right? And I bet you a dime to a dollar, he's going to break you a piece of what he think you should have. That's what he's going to do. He's going to give you, here, you should have this. Okay? If he's not going to fall off into that whole white man burden thing, you know, okay, I'm obligated to give you my whole sandwich. right?
Right.
But this is what he's going to default to. Hey, thanks Panther for this right here. Let me see, because I'm going to see if I can go ahead and grab this this PDF as well. Oh crap, what did I do? I just got rid of. All right. So there we go. So that's just it. Now, if this white man, if he's such your friend, take it a step further and say, okay, look at your house and look at my house. Look at your financial situation. Look at my financial situation. Now, I'm telling you this because the white boy, his livelihood is wrapped up in his money.
Mm-hmm.
That's his livelihood. That's how he's going to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, ask him. Say, we such good friends? Yes. All right. Well, you know, I don't have as much as you have. So why don't you just cash out everything that you have and we'll split the cash?
Mm-hmm.
See what he says. I bet you he will stop being friends with you.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want any kind of equality, yeah, he gonna be like, nah, I'm good on
No,
the
no. If you want any type of friendship,
yeah.
you see,
He can be like, I'm good on this friendship.
right? He wants me to part ways with my livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're actually looking at when we're dealing with these people. Okay, they know and they have a clear understanding that, you know, I don't share my money, I don't share my power.
Mm-hmm.
So, fellas, understand that when you're talking to this guy, and you're talking to black women, right? They just literally peeled off like $7-8 trillion within 1 year.
Yep.
The government did.
Away. Yeah, just to give away. Mm-hmm. Right.
And then they were acting like, you know, well, my uncle, because he's a cheapskate, and they were trying to act like, oh no, we don't have any money.
Yeah.
But y'all just pulled $7-8 trillion out y'all ass like it wasn't nothing. See, it's not the fact that you don't have any money. It's the fact that you only spend your money on things you want to spend it on.
Right. That's really what it is. Yeah.
That's really what it is. So at some point, you know, brothers got to shit or get off the pot. And if they don't, divesting is not the way. Divesting is not the way. The answer, make more King Corsos.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because that's the only way. That's the only language that they're going to understand. All right. Now, the way that has to work is black women just have to do more worshiping of black men. That's right. I said it. Mm-hmm. Worship him. Okay. No. And put it this way. Worship your husbands. I mean, we should actually be seeing the most prestigious woman bowing down to black men on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you know, like the Muslims, they take that cloth, right, for prayer time or whatever, right? This is what women should be carrying in their purse when they see a black man. They should be getting down on one knee saying, you know, I praise you.
Mm-hmm. That's what.
See, look at this.
That's what the Bible says anyway.
See. I didn't even. I didn't know that. But Look at this. Is that worship verbally or sexually? See, we're not even talking about sex here.
No.
We're not even talking about sex. All right. This is what's effed up about the world. That whole Bible. Part of it is true and part of it is not. You have to learn how to rightly divide the word. So let me give to you the reason why women are on this planet. Women are on this planet for two reasons. Just two. Entertainment for her man and procreation. Because this is about meeting the needs of God. So if you only hear the only thing God wanted them to do was to be fruitful and multiply. In order to do that, God had to give Adam, in this case, a certain type of specimen that will take his focus away from working. So he had to make the woman pleasing to the eye. That's what he did. So that Adam will no longer be entertained by naming animals and working in the garden and doing all this other crap. What he would be doing is he would actually be focused in on paying attention to her. Entertainment. The issue is, fellas, and a lot of reasons why you guys are very upset with the sisters is because they're not entertaining. And not only sexually, like these women don't have any talent. What do they have to bring to the table? Even before you start talking about money, they don't have anything to bring because they have no talents. So at some point, they're going to relegate themselves to only sex. Okay? So you look at the woman and you can see she doesn't have any talents. She's not really able to entertain. Why is entertaining very important? Because the entertainment leads to one place, procreation.
So here's the verse. I think it's Corinthians, something chapter 7. But the verse is, "For a man indeed ought not cover his head, for as much as he is in the image of and glory of God, but the woman is the glory of the man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man."
Woman for the man. Right? Makes perfect sense because that's the reality of things.
And all these females out here calling themselves Christians, they not doing nothing Christian. Even if that's their bar, they not even reaching that in the least bit.
Okay, here's the reason why Panther, the reason why why we don't have to start with worshiping each other. Because black men have already been conditioned to worship the black woman. Even more so, we just went through a whole musical revolution to where we learn how to worship women, learn how to apologize for our mistakes, learn how to take accountability for the wrong things that we do to them in our lives. So this is the whole reasoning why we don't have to do worshiping. Plus, the whole thing is that right now the females don't have any humility. So worshiping them right now would only exacerbate the problems that we have. Right? So worshiping them is just only going to mean, what is it, more simping or something, or, however they view it, right? And then it's just going to become a whole big thing, and it's actually going to discuss them, and it's going to just, push the timeline back further, because their perception their view is distorted and everything's upside down like a bizarro world, right? So what good means bad, right? Or bad means good in this type of scenario. Instead of bad meaning bad, bad means good. Well, you and I both know bad means bad. Right? And so they think having a fat ass means good. But when you say that that's bad, they think bad meaning good. No, you're fat. Well, that ain't none of your business. Well, it's none of my business, but you're going to kill yourself. And plus, now they got a lot of our black women saying, you know, well, you as a black man, you're a racist. Topic for another day. Now, what is Wally asking here? Wally says that when you speak of talent, are you speaking of beneficial skills? Okay, beneficial skills to who? Because if we're talking about beneficial skills to the female, then yes. Okay. They need something that they know that they need to know of in terms of themselves that they are good at. Okay. Something that they like, something that they enjoy. Because
even something that can bring revenue.
I mean, it normally that talent will bring about some sort of revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Normally. Right? If she wanted to. Okay? Not saying that it's necessarily needed, but if she wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is that a lot of these women are not even in tune or in touch with themselves enough.
Right.
To even have a talent other than sex.
They don't have a talent what they're doing. Yep. Either their talent is sex or it's going out getting these useless social service degrees. That's it.
So when you see a black woman, she'll apologize. Oh yeah, she'll give you an empty one. Why? Because apologize to them. Show them some respect, because here's the deal. This whole notion of disrespect, brothers need to get out of it. The reason why brothers need to get out of it is because it's an emotion that the white boy has identified that you must give the black man all the time is respect. Because if you don't respect him, he's going to act emotional and.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't want you to respect me. I don't need it.
You need worship.
All right. Exactly. Bend the knee.
Yeah.
In public.
Well, hey, on that, man, let's maybe put a pin in that, man. Shit. That was that's excellent. You know what I'm saying? That's excellent.
Say, I invite you guys to come back. I normally run my lives between 7 and 11 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So during the week, right?
Okay.
I typically make my weekends for my kids, and so we're about to get into it here in a little bit. And Daddy hasn't been asleep all night, but we're going to get into it. So with that being said, I do invite all of you guys to come back.
Of course. Head
back over at any time, and we'll have some fun. Right.
All right.
Ladies are more than welcome to come up on the panel. I promise you, I won't be like, no, you can't speak.
Shirley was a special case.
Yeah, because Shirley knew exactly what it was that she was doing.
Yeah. She was a pro. She's a pro.
Okay. Right.
I could see.
Okay.
I could see she was a pro.
If you guys have not seen the list, if you guys have not heard about the list, okay, so tomorrow morning, Monday morning, okay, I will go over the list, and I want to hear what you guys have to say, what you guys have to think about the list. So do not go in and watch the video about the list, right? Don't do that. Fitness Mom, you've seen the list, okay? I want you to come up on the show. And let's talk about it. Let's get some things out tomorrow morning. Will you do that? Yeah. So tomorrow morning, come out, spend some time with me. We'll jack it up, and you know, I mean, you guys heard my views about things, but I really want to hear you guys' views about life, and because I heard what Streaming and was saying. And I am a progressive person. The issue is that, you know, you can hear people talking regressively, right? So it's like saying, you know, giving me some orange juice that's bought at the grocery store and saying that, you know, here, I'm trying to help you out with your health. You know, well, no, it's bad orange juice. It's basically sugar water, right? So, and no, that's 7 a.m. Central Time. Central Time. So if you guys are on the East Coast, you know, but I hang around until about 11, right? And so, you know, I try not to let it go over 4 hours. So that gives people on the West Coast time to wake up. You know, if they wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, or something like that, you know, they can get it in before they go to work or whatever it is that they're gonna do. But let me see. Oh yeah, I am in the DF Dub. If you want to know where I am, I'm like right by Spring Valley and the Toll. Yeah. So, you know, so I don't have any I don't have any qualms or any hangups about anything, right? And we can go ahead and we can get it in. So tomorrow, 7 o'clock, it don't matter if you show up at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning or whatever, you know, just let's hang out. And I just want to, okay. Yeah. So you right down the way, right down 635. So yeah, so if you want to, if y'all want to stop through, let's have some fun. And more than likely, there's going to be some more of my partners that's going to come through and hang out. You know, hey, shout out to my man, Pastor $40. We gotta catch up and be doing some more live streams or something like that together, man. We definitely got to get into it. I'm sure we will, but you know, we just we got to get back to life, right? And so people been kind of missing what it was that, you know, we had to talk about. And so, you know, I just cranked up some live streams. I got a good deal. So cranked up some live streams and some people encouraged me to do so. So this is what we're going to be at. Right. All right. So if anybody got any more questions or anything like that, we're about to get out of here. Oh, by the way, if you guys want to email me, just go into the YouTube section and about my email address is in there. If you guys want to email me at Man's Media Network, right? Hit the about, or let me put it right here in the chat real quick. So then that way everyone can have the email address. If there's any topics that you guys want to discuss on the show, we can do that. So if there's any topics that you guys want to discuss on the show, let me know. If there's anything that you want to talk about on the show, let me know. There is no topic that is not worth discussing. Right? There's no topic that's not worth discussing. So hit me up. Let me know if you have any ideas. You know, if you guys want me to appear on your panels, just email me. Right? and I will more than do so. So if there's not anything else, I guess we out of here.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks
then.
again, everybody. Peace.
All right. Peace.